Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into James Clear's Atomic Habits.
Yeah, a really fascinating read.
Absolutely. And this is really for anyone who's, felt stuck trying to build good habits or maybe break bad ones.
Or just wondered how some people seem to nail their goals so consistently.
Exactly. So our mission today is to, well, unpack the core ideas, the practical strategies, and the really profound insights from this book.
It all starts with Clear's central idea, doesn't it?
It does. This idea that success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. Forget the giant leaps.
Right. It's about those small, almost invisible improvements.
Yeah.
The compounding effect.
Yeah, that 1% better every day concept. It sounds small, but do the math, and by year's end, you're nearly 38% better.
It really shifts the focus. Small changes, remarkable results, as the subtitle says. It's like compound interest for self-improvement.
Patience is key, though, right? Which many of us, myself included, kind of struggle with.
Definitely. And before we even get to the how, Clear lays this really crucial foundation.
Ah, yes, the 3 layers of behavior change. This is a big aha moment for me.
For a lot of people, I think. Because we usually start at the wrong level.
Okay, so let's break them down. Top layer, the most obvious one. Outcomes. This is what you get.
Your goal. Lose 10 kilos, write a book, the result.
Then just below that, you've got processes, what you actually do.
The systems. Go to the gym 3 times a week, write 500 words a day, the actions.
But the deepest layer, the one that really matters for lasting change, is identity.
This is the game changer. It's about what you believe, who you see yourself as.
So instead of I want to lose weight, it's,
I am a healthy person.
or not, I want to write a book, but
I am a writer. It's a fundamental shift.
yeah, and that's the key insight, right? True behavior change is identity change.
Exactly. When your actions align with who you believe you are, the habits just stick. They feel natural, not forced.
It stops being a chore and starts being, well, just who you are.
Precisely. Don't just try to get fit. Become someone who is fit. Don't try to read more. Become a reader.
Makes total sense. Okay, so that's the foundation. How do these habits actually, form? What's the mechanism?
That brings us to the habit loop. Clear's framework for how every habit works. It's a 4-stage cycle.
Okay, lay it out for us.
First up, the cue. This is the trigger, the thing that tells your brain to initiate a behavior.
Like your phone buzzing with a notification.
Perfect example. That's the cue. Then comes the craving.
The motivation, the desire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not usually a craving for the thing itself, but for the change in state it brings. With the phone, you crave the info, the connection, maybe just that little dopamine hit.
Right. Okay, so cue, craving, then what?
The response. This is the actual habit you perform, picking up the phone, opening the app.
The action itself. Got it.
And finally, the reward. This satisfies the craving and, crucially, teaches your brain, hey, this loop is worth remembering.
So seeing the notification, getting the like, feeling entertained, that reinforces it all.
Bingo. And that loop runs constantly, reinforcing good habits and, unfortunately, bad ones too.
Yeah. So understanding that loop is step 1. Then you need to know how to, manipulate it.
You got it. Reinforce it for good habits, disrupt it for bad ones. And that leads perfectly into Clear's 4 laws of behavior change.
Right. He basically turns each stage of the loop into a practical rule for building good habits. Let's start with the cue. First law.
Make it obvious, simple but powerful. If the cue is hidden, the habit doesn't even start.
So you need to make those good cues impossible to miss.
Yeah, and it's less about willpower, more about designing your surroundings.
Yeah.
2 key techniques here. First, habit stacking.
I love this one. Linking a new habit to one you already do.
Exactly. The formula is, after current habit, I will new habit. Like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute.
Uses an existing pathway in your brain. Clever.
Very. And the other is environment design. Literally changing your space.
Like putting running shoes by the door.
Or keeping fruit on the counter, not buried in the fridge. Make the right choice, the easy, visible choice.
Okay, makes sense. Make the cue obvious. What about the craving stage? Second law.
Make it attractive.
Yeah.
We're driven by pleasure and anticipation, so you need to make the craving itself more appealing.
How do you do that?
One technique is temptation bundling. Pair something you want to do with something you need to do.
Like only watching your favorite Netflix show while you're on the exercise bike.
Exactly. You link the reward of the show to the effort of the exercise. Another way is leveraging social norms, imitate others.
Join a group where the habit is normal.
Right. If everyone in your running group gets up early to run, it suddenly seems more attractive, more normal, and there's also the motivation ritual.
What's that?
Doing something you genuinely enjoy right before a difficult habit, like listening to your absolute favorite pump-up song before tackling a task you dread. It builds positive association.
I like that. A little pre-habit treat. Okay, law 3 relates to the response, the action itself. This is make it easy.
Absolutely crucial. Reduce the friction. Make the habit so simple you can't say no.
So like prepping vegetables on Sunday so healthy eating is easier during the week.
That's a perfect example of reducing friction. Remove the obstacles beforehand. And then there's the famous 2-minute rule.
Ah, yes. Start small.
Really small.
Ridiculously small. The goal isn't to achieve the final outcome immediately, it's just to start. So instead of write for an hour, it's open my laptop and write one sentence.
Or put on my running shoes instead of run 5K.
Precisely. It overcomes that initial inertia, that activation energy. Once you start, it's much easier to continue. And don't forget, automation.
Using tech or systems.
Yeah, automatic bill pay, scheduling workouts, password managers. Take the decision and the effort out of it where you can.
The 2-minute rule feels like such a key takeaway for so many people. Okay, finally, the reward stage. Law number 4.
Make it satisfying. This closes the loop. If a habit doesn't feel rewarding, especially immediately, you won't stick with it.
Our brains love instant gratification. They really do.
Yeah.
Do you need some kind of immediate satisfaction? Even just a mental pat on the back after doing something small, like flossing. A quick acknowledgement.
Okay. What about for bigger things?
You could create a personal habit program, like putting $5 in a jar every time you skip takeout and cook at home, saving up for something fun, tangible accumulating rewards.
Nice. And the habit tracker.
Oh yeah, the habit tracker is huge. Using a calendar, an app, whatever works, marking off each day you do the habit builds a visual chain.
And you don't want to break the chain.
Exactly. It's incredibly motivating. But there's a small caveat. Clear mentions Goodhart's law.
Which is?
When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. Basically, don't get obsessed with just checking the box. Focus on actually doing the habit for its own sake, not just maintaining the streak.
Right. The tracker is a tool, not the ultimate goal. Okay, so that's building good habits. What about the flip side? Getting rid of bad ones.
You just invert the laws. Simple as that.
Okay, so instead of make it obvious,
make it invisible. Reduce exposure to the cues. If you snack watching TV, hide the snacks. If you waste time on your phone, put it in another room or delete the tempting apps.
Out of sight, out of mind, basically. Okay, law 2 inverted. Instead of like, make it attractive.
Make it unattractive. You need to reframe how you think about the bad habit. Focus on the downsides, the long-term costs.
So instead of smoking relaxes me, think.
Smoking ruins my lungs and costs a fortune. Highlight the negatives. Make the craving seem less appealing.
Got it. Law 3 inverted. Instead of make it easy,
make it difficult. Increase the friction. Make the bad habit harder to do.
Like removing saved credit card details to curb online shopping.
Perfect. Or using website blockers during work hours. Add steps. Add hassle.
Makes sense. And finally, law 4 inverted. Instead of make it satisfying,
make it unsatisfying. This is about adding immediate cost or pain to the bad habit.
Like that habit contract idea. Paying a friend if you slip up.
It's exactly. Public accountability, financial penalties, anything that makes the consequence immediate and unpleasant. That really helps counteract the brain's desire for the immediate reward of the bad habit.
So it all comes back to manipulating that loop cue, craving, response, reward, just in reverse for bad habits.
Precisely.
And this brings us back kind of full circle to that initial idea of compounding, the 1% gains.
Yeah, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. But Clear also stresses something important here. Focus on systems, not goals.
Explain that distinction.
Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are the processes that lead to those results. Clear argues you should fall in love with the process.
So focus on showing up every day, on doing the reps, rather than just dreaming about the finish line.
Exactly. If you have a good system, the goals tend to take care of themselves. Build the right habits, and the results will follow.
That requires patience, though, especially during that, what does he call it, the plateau of latent potential.
Yes, the plateau. That period where you are putting in the work consistently, but you're not seeing results yet. It feels like you're stuck.
That's where most people quit, right?
Totally, because it's discouraging. But Clear compares it to melting ice. Nothing seems to happen as the temperature rises from, say, 25 to 31 degrees. But all that energy is building up. Then at 32 degrees, boom, change happens.
So you need to trust the process and keep going, even when the progress isn't obvious.
Yes. Persistence through that plateau is critical. That's where the breakthroughs happen. Consistency is king.
So really, the big takeaway from Atomic Habits isn't about finding some magic bullet of willpower.
Not at all. It's about smart design. Designing your environment, understanding a bit of psychology, and making the good habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. And the bad ones, the opposite.
It's about making small, intelligent tweaks to your daily routine that add up over time.
You got it. Tiny changes, remarkable results.
So the question for you listening is, what's one atomic habit, just one small thing you could start building or maybe start breaking today?
Just pick one. Apply these ideas. See what happens.
See how those tiny choices can compound. Thanks so much for tuning into this deep dive.
Yeah, hope this gave you some practical tools to take control of those habits.
And ultimately, maybe even your destiny.